Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rise with Reis, where I have Reis with me today, and we are here to elevate your true self so you can attract your highest match, your twin flame, your highest version of you, your highest life. And so, our topic today, we're going to be talking about the idea of signs and synchronicities as if the universe is speaking to you. So, a question for you would be, have you been feeling these patterns, these repeats, these cycles that you're going through this process? And you're wondering, why am I going through this again and again and again? Well, a piece of it is the universe is speaking to you and trying to wake you up to something you are not seeing. And that's why you're repeating the cycle, so that you can go through a clearing process to purify your soul, to help you elevate your thoughts, your beliefs, your truths, your ideas, your vibration. And until you can see what it is that is the universe trying to get your attention for, you're not able to get past it. It's sort of like a lesson that we signed up for in our soul to learn something. So let's turn it over to Reis right now. And Reis, give us an idea of some of the signs and synchronicities you've experienced in this journey, but not even just this journey. Up until this point, let's talk about even some fresh things, fresh ideas, new signs and synchronicities that maybe we both have experienced recently.
Okay, that's a good question. So, hello everybody. So, the signs and synchronicities, I feel they're really starting to come through quite hard and fast for me at this current point. I'm going through a huge shift in my life. And this is usually where we really need to pay attention to these signs, that they're guiding us and showing us, but how do we see them? How are we open to them? And this is something that I've had to really practice this week. So, the fact that we've got this topic that is here is really, really current. And I would say it's really about going into being still, being still, being centered and being grounded and connecting with yourself. I used to be addicted to rush energy. When I did my Reiki years ago, we had to look at all our addictions. I was going, well, what am I addicted to? I'm addicted to rush energy, rushing around. I was always late. I was never organized, and I was missing everything. And actually, when I was shown that I was missing all the signs, I was missing all the guidance that was coming through, I had to really learn how to pause and slow down, because how many of us are caught up in day-to-day rush energy? And this is like, we've got constant alarms going off, we've got deadlines, we've got all of these pressures in life that are creating like a stress energy in us. So it's really important to recognize actually where you're at with this and how confused you might be with how much is going on around you. And I would say just start being really mindful of slowing everything down a little bit, being a little bit more deliberate within your actions, recognizing that actually, and this was big for me because I was really, really addicted to rush energy. I would, go everywhere, do everything fast. And it was 100 miles an hour. And they used to call me Hurricane at work because I was just like, full, 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 full. But actually, when I started slowing down and I started deliberately being in the now and starting to pause, I really started to see all the different signs that were coming through. So there's so many different ways that the universe can communicate to you. And this is through people, through numbers, through colors, through so many different things. But it's about being receptive and being open to actually what it's showing you. Because a lot of us, we only want to see what we want to see. And I feel that this is huge at this point, because we can become so centered on tunnel vision of what we should have, what is right for us, that we actually miss all these signs. We miss guidance that comes in. And this can come through people, it can come through signs, it can come through music, so many different avenues for it to enter. And it's really being open to this and understanding that. And we talk all the time about a different perspective, and it's shifting that perspective. It's actually saying, right, there's something bigger than what I could possibly imagine right now. And just asking to be open to it, being asked to be open to receiving this information, receiving this guidance, because we can hold on. And I feel that if this is you and you're in that place of struggle and you're struggling to let go. We've got this beautiful 5-day challenge that we do. So I suggest get plugged into that, because it's a beautiful 5-day challenge where you can step by step go through all these different techniques, and it's myself and Harmony are with you the whole way, and just understanding how to release that control, how to let go of holding on to the conditioning that we've got to the process. And a lot of us can feel out of control. We can feel and this is very current at the moment, because myself and my twin flame, we're really having to work. Everything we've just been discussing this, everything that I've just worked for and gained in the last 6 months. For everybody that doesn't know, we emigrated to Australia 7-8 months ago, and we've established, a small life for ourselves in that time. Now everything's been pulled away and it's been taken away, and we all have automatically gone into a place of, what have we got to do? Where have we got to go? How have we got to steer this in the right direction? And it takes you into that place of panic. It takes you into that place of, it takes you out of flow. It takes you out of alignment when you're in that place. So over the past week, instead of going, right, pressure, even though everything's been taken away, and this is what we're talking about, the old ways don't work anymore. It's about recognizing that we're in this really high vibrational energy, that actually, if we really tune in, we really center ourselves, we really take a step back, and we really honor that stillness within ourselves, that we can actually start by being given that guidance. And I'd say a very big, strong sign for me that's come through is when I've gone into that surrender, and it's only been the last couple of days, so we've had a big upheaval the last week, and I've gone into surrender, I've started to experience a place of calmness and serenity, which has taken over that chaos. Now, what's been really beautiful is that I actually went out to a friend's bar on Saturday night, and I met people that just expanded me, that they were talking about my son's schooling and mental health and all of this, and they were so nourishing. And I wasn't going to go. I wasn't going to go because I was like, no, I've got to stay at home. My husband's not, he's not well. And I was going to shut myself off, and I was going to keep myself in that separation. But I didn't. I went, no, I've got to honor myself. I deserve to have fun. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go into flow. I'm going to let go. I'm going to enjoy it. And all of this information started coming in. So and I didn't have to go out there looking for it to find it, for it to come in. It's that easy when we actually recognize this.
Mm-hmm. So there's a couple things in what you said. So number one that I want to touch on that is so huge, like you said, is taking the time to unplug and listen to yourself. When you're listening to the universe speak, you're really listening to also your own intuition here. Your own intuition is going through a process that's allowing you to exercise it like a muscle so that you can begin to listen to your own soul, listen to your own needs, listen to your own ideas, because that's how the universe does come through us. So we think a lot of times of these signs and synchronicities being outside of us, but they're really inside of us, because on some level, form, shape, or fashion, we're creating them to begin with. So if we're, like you said, in that rush mode and we're not being still enough, we will miss the signs and synchronicities. And what that does is, as you mentioned, it pulls us out of aligned action, alignment with our truth, our highest self, the highest version of who we are and how we should show up in that place of that version of ourselves. And another key in that is attachment. So I was just telling Reis before the show, something that I've been feeling coming full circle for myself is this sense of what I've went through to be stripped of everything, which is in some level stripped of ego, even though it didn't feel like ego at all. But finding the everything and nothing, to dump, like this, the piece of this journey is dumping out everything inside of you and around you, technically. And the key of that is for you to find in the chaos that you know how to find peace, and that you know how to find love. And that even if you've done that, even if you've known that, it's about doing it to a level, an expanded version, that you don't need anything to identify who you are. A person on this twin flame journey, you don't need the other person. You don't need all the stuff. You don't need anything for you to, even down to being stripped of situations and thinking we need money to live and like all kinds of things, and granted, we do on some level, but if we think we're the ones making that happen, and we think we're the ones that's got to get up and show up and do XYZ, the universe is going to show us by stripping us of even more, that the more we get out of the way and allow the universe to show up and support us and trust that the universe is our provider, then actually the more that comes through, because it's all about a constriction, a contraction of your energy and an expansion of your energy that's taking place underneath all of the flow of everything. And so when it comes to the universe speaking to us, it's so important to realize that that voice is inside. And that while we might need external confirmation through the people, the songs, the experiences, until we learn how to interpret it from within, it really doesn't allow us to create a language between us and the cosmos that says we're the co-creator of our reality and our situation. And so I just, same as you, Reis, this week went through several things, or actually in the last couple weeks. So, I moved to Sedona. I will say, I stripped of everything when I left a home of 17 years, 9 years ago, and moved into a completely furnished condo. Staycation, I've been calling it, for 9 years. Didn't own hardly anything, and anything I did own, I was not attached to it. I did have a bed and a couch, and the red iconic couch that everybody saw. I'd let these things go with love. I pray that people that could use them or love anything I had as much as me would take it over and bless them with what they needed. Oh, and I had this really good story happen. I don't know if we'll have time to share this, but oh my gosh, I had this amazing story happen over the weekend. It's Friday. That was mind blowing. But anyway, letting go of these things.
I want to hear the story. I want to hear the story. You're like, it's mind blowing, and you moved on. I want to hear the story.
Okay. So, all right. So I'll tell you the story, but let me finish the thought about this first. So, my son and his, well, that's part of the story. So let me back up to the story, like what I was going to say before the story. When we, go through this process, though, of recreating ourselves, it's about doing it from a level that we can't see. So therefore, we have to somehow not hang on to anything, be attached to anything, and allow, this higher version of us to come through us. And that calls for a higher level of trusting the process, taking aligned action, that we follow our intuition in a way that, to realize we're the one manifesting, magnetizing, materializing ourselves. Hello, everyone. We'll be with you in a moment. I want to definitely acknowledge you guys and see if you have questions. And also, just in case anybody's joining us before I tell the story and see how it links to this whole topic, obviously it does. On some level, I'll make it link. But if you're just joining us, this is the Rise with Reis show every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where Reis and I get together and we have a conversation about ways to help you elevate your true self so you can attract your highest match, your twin flame. But I don't want to minimize it to just that, because this is about how we are the magnet, how we become the co-creator of our reality, and how we attract who we are, not what we want. Okay. And so if you've just getting plugged in, make sure to check out the links above and below, because we got all kinds of resources that you can get plugged into some of the offerings we have for you. But okay, the story. So my son and his twin flame, actually, they're married. They have a baby this year, and they came to Phoenix, which I moved to Sedona. And that's kind of part of the story I was saying, how I let go of everything from 9 years ago from leaving a home, stayed in a staycation. Now coming here to Sedona has represented for me accumulation of items and things that are just
Mm.
necessities right now. Okay. And there was this shoot, and this is not the story, but I still got to tell this part because this is where I was going with it. I accumulated this armware a couple weeks ago, and it about suffocated me because it was so big, so heavy. Movers out, like almost never got it up a flight of stairs to bring it in here. Um, the whole thing trailed me on a bunch of signs, synchronicities, things that were happening, revisiting these cycles to create a scenario for me to purge the idea that I couldn't be attached to anything or even have anything without feeling like it was going to make me suffocate.
Mm.
And so I was turning around, and as I went to turn around, I got down in this embankment, couldn't go up this cliff hill, and slid back and knocked a tail light out going to pay this guy off Craigslist for this piece of furniture. And the minute it came into this space, I was like, oh my God, I need this out of here. I'm going to suffocate.
Mm.
So anyway, but the thing is, now here's what I got to tell you. All right. And before I get to the story, all of that's been clearing out for me the attachment and the grounding
Mm.
to something I hadn't been connected to for so long. And
Mm.
now I'm actually looking at properties to buy here in Sedona. And so what I'm saying is, like that's an anchor, something I didn't want to anchor back into. But sometimes in these signs and synchronicities and things we go through and we got to let go, sometimes there has to be balance into anchoring something in. And here it's not about me here's the thing about everything and nothing and nothing and everything. I could care less about this property.
Yeah.
But I'm being called to do this from a level that is a light worker to create this sense of light into the earth here, into this
Mm.
connection, grounding
Mm.
finances, light, energy into the earth. Okay.
Mm.
And so, because I can definitely see more of the reason and the purpose, that's allowing me to surrender, let go, and not feel so overwhelmed by owning something. Because here we're going from in 2 weeks, I can't even own an armware, so I'm looking at properties.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that being said, okay, the story. Well, before I do that, do you want to share anything before I tell the story?
No, I've got more to add. I want to get to this story. Yeah, I've got more to add. No, I want to hear.
Okay. So I just mentioned my son and his twin flamer in Phoenix, and I went to see them for the day. And a neighbor of mine, she's going through what we're talking about, letting go and letting go and letting go and letting go, and just shutting everything down to nothing. And she couldn't believe, she thought she missed the moving truck when I moved here with nothing but a Jeep full of whatever. So anyway, she says to me one day when I was down there visiting her, helping her do something, she's like, she had this whole case, this whole bunch of alcohol. And she's like, do you drink? Do you want this alcohol? I'm going to get rid of it. I'm like, no, I don't drink. She goes, well, do you know anybody? I'm like, no, not, and they go, oh, I'm meeting my son in a couple weeks. He's meeting his friends. They always get together. They have drinks. They like whatever. When I go to Phoenix, I could take some of it up there, but they're only going to be there for the weekend. So maybe just give me a couple bottles or something like that. And then so she's like, still hanging on this alcohol and said, well, I might go through it again. And then she decides she's going to get rid of it all. Well, I happened to not be with her when she put it in my car for me to take it. So I didn't really know what she put in my car. But when I went to my son's, the baby was had gotten sick, and so they decided not to meet the friends that day that they were going to be meeting. And so needless to say, we did our own little get together, and I forgot about the alcohol in my car, especially because I didn't even put it in my car. So then I go to the grocery store there because I wanted to go to this grocery store that stock up on some things I would normally get, since they don't have that store here. And I passed the alcohol aisle and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot the alcohol. It's in my car still. And so, we're talking here about signs and synchronicities, right? And so I want to really, really connect with, like, in my intuition, I was going through things to understand and realize everything happens for a reason, right? So I literally out of nowhere had these things started dropping into me. Like, well, I wonder if I can find a wino on the street outside. Like, you know, like, to give him this alcohol. I'm like, all I knew was this alcohol ain't going home with me. Like, this isn't even
Yeah,
my
yeah.
alcohol. How did I accumulate this alcohol? I don't even want this alcohol. I don't drink this alcohol. Like, what am I going to do with all this? Like, and I didn't even know how much was in there. And so then I'm like, I'm then thinking, well, I wonder if I just set it out somewhere. Somebody will find it and they'll just take it, And this was just I had no thought in all this. It just downloaded into my brain. And so I get ready to go outside. I paid, I went outside and putting all my stuff in, and a lady next to me comes up with her cart and she starts loading her SUV in the back of it. I saw she had 2 bottles of wine. Well, because of these thoughts coming through me, and this is how we can be the facilitator or something, how we need to also know in the signs and synchronicities when to show up. Okay. And when to,
Huge,
like, so without thought, this just took over in me, and she's chatting away on the phone with somebody. And I said, "Excuse me." I said, "I know you're on the phone, but I have a question for you." I said, "I just left my son. He's in town from out of town. I live in Sedona, and I don't even drink, but my neighbor gave me all this alcohol to give him, and I forgot to give it to him, and I won't see him again." I said, "I don't even drink. Would you like some alcohol?"
yeah.
And she says, she kind of giggles and laughs, and she goes, "Yeah, I'll take it." And then so like I go to get it out, and I have no idea what my neighbor put in because I still don't know. And I'm this bag thinking, "Oh, okay, there's like 4 little bottles in here." I have it. I feel down there. It was dark. I'm like, "Oh crap." I pull up this big old bag, and like all I could hear is a bunch of bottles rattling. Well, I knew when she showed me there was like fifths of like all kinds of stuff and a whole box of stuff. Well, she put all that stuff inside a bag. So I don't know, there were 6 to 8 fifths of alcohol. So I hand it to that woman, and she feels it. She's like, "Oh my God." So then she says to me, here's where it gets good. And this is where you got to pay attention to what you're doing with signs and synchronicities and how you show up for people. And granted, I don't drink, and so I'm not even saying to promote it. Some people may not drink, but some people do. The bottom line is it was a blessing because that lady says to me, "Oh my gosh, tomorrow's my husband's birthday. I'm on a budget." Because what I had said to her is, "I noticed you have 2 bottles of wine in your cart." I said, "So I figured you at least drink. So I got this alcohol you can have." So then when I give it to her, she says, "Tomorrow's my birthday, my husband's birthday. I'm on a budget. We're having a party, and I couldn't afford to buy but 2 bottles of wine."
Oh, wow.
And here in the middle of a parking lot, she manifests all this alcohol.
Yeah.
And I give her all this stuff that I forgot to give my son that was, filtered through me as the facilitator, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like what you're saying there, how you just said you just responded. You just went into it came through. This is what you got to do. You had to interrupt her on the phone. You were like, "I've got to give you this alcohol." And it was shown. And you were in a total place of trust with it all. And I feel that's real key, isn't it? It's actually when you get that, really act on it, really listen to it, because a lot of us kind of suppress it down, don't we? And we're like, yeah, we don't want to hear it, or we pull ourselves back. But actually taking that step into that place of trust is big, isn't it? It's huge, because I do feel like it's important to touch on the fact that people can lose faith and heart in the signs and synchronicities when they've gone, "Well, I've listened to the signs and I've followed the synchronicities, and it's actually led me to a place of experiencing pain and not positive experiences because I've been focused on actually they're here to lead me to a better place." Well, they are here to lead you to a better place, but our perception of a better place isn't what we want, it's actually what we need. So it's what's going to help us grow. So
Yeah.
it
And
will.
what
Sorry?
creates the pain is the hanging on and the
Yeah,
resistance to what you need to
absolutely.
do to make the changes needed to make a shift.
Absolutely. And it's important that you really see that you're on a journey of growth, you're on a journey of healing, and that that the universe is here supporting you on that path, on that journey. So it's leading you to different avenues to help you grow, to help you expand, to help you experience. And bring love in and to guide you. So it's about building trust, and it's about being open to it. I know there was a comment earlier about touching about numbers and looking at the external signs. As we said before, the strongest connection comes from within you. And when you really learn to listen to that, you can hear the voice of God in you. You can hear the voice of divine, and it is a beautiful, high vibrational, and it's above you. It's not that ego niggling, pulling, low dense feeling. And really tune into yourself and start to resonate those feelings around asking to receive that voice, ask to receive a message from God, divine, and be open to it. And I feel this is a really powerful thing that you can just check in with yourself every single day to do, and just center yourself and ask for your guidance to be given to you for that day, and wait for it to come through, and just breathe and allow it to flow through you. It might be a word, it might be a feeling, it will come in any form that you're ready to receive, but just be really receptive to it. And the more you tune into this, and as I said, take you a couple of minutes a day, the more you do this daily practice, the more you will strengthen that connection, and it will just come through. So, and it's a very simple thing to do, but actually you do it and you build it, and you'll be receiving it all the time, and you'll be in total flow with being open to the messages of the universe.
Absolutely. And we have some comments here. Hello, Bonnie. Thanks for joining us. So you wish you understood the synchronicities and the repeating numbers more clearly. Yeah, hindsight makes more sense after certain events and experiences take place. That is true. That's like, there's a couple aspects in that. One, it repeats like that to show us something for like, so once you have some event or some connection to the meaning or the message, that is then how you create the language to, if when it does repeat, that you begin to understand and know how that links to breadcrumbs that leads to something bigger that helps you decipher, decode that synchronicity to begin with, that communication. So when it comes to that, like you were mentioning, Reis, that's where I use, and I wrote about in Twin Flame Codebreaker, the ask, listen, allow. So first of all, our guides and angels can't assist us if we don't ask for assistance. And so, that's the free will in this. And if we ask for assistance, we ask for a sign, we ask for clarity. So that's one thing and another thing about this is like, all of that is within us for our own intuition. But if we need clarity, if we need like a confirmation, and we begin to ask for our guidance to show us and share with us, that we're always going to get the answer. And one thing is, if I don't know what a sign or synchronicity is, I ask my guidance, the higher self, like, what does this mean?
Yeah, just following on for that, and go and research it. You wouldn't believe the amount of people that come to me and they say, "Oh, what's that meaning?" And I said, "Well, have you looked for it yourself?" Or, "Well, it's been coming, this sequence of numbers." And so it will keep coming back to you. Be open, actually. Go and research it, go and look and explore what the universe is showing you. I started seeing numbers 20 years ago, and I mean, they were coming at me hard and fast, and I was writing pages and pages down of these number sequences. And it was only when I started really resonating with the meaning. Now you will feel that. You will feel the meaning within you of what resonates within you and the message, because this is your personal relationship with the universe. So it's for you to receive. So when that fits with you, be open to it. Now the numbers, they show me, they come around people, they come around situations, whether it's clearing, whether it's me having to work a little bit harder on my energy shield. It will show me when I'm going into vulnerable situations. And I use numbers as a really empowered way of guiding me, because I've been working with them for years, but I totally am in trust. And they show up for me when I need to see them. And I know hindsight's great, but learn from it all. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, I had like what you're talking about come through just recently. So, um, agave. Since I've been here in Sedona and being in the desert, I kept being really drawn to the agave plant, the blue agave, down to the point where I manifested a kind of painting from a person that was brand new that I picked up in Phoenix when I went to see my son. And so now that agave plant is sitting up here, like on this thing, I got to hang it on the wall, but it's sitting up there. And I walk by it and I just have this zing in my body. It's just so beautiful. And it's like opening up, like a flower. So today I got the idea to look up what is the spiritual symbolism of the agave plant. And it
Mm,
was very interesting because it said it is the queen of the desert and it represents renewal and rebirth, and that it's all about the sweetness and passion. And if you think about it, not much can survive in the desert. But here is this beautiful plant that offers agave is sweet, like nectar, right?
nice.
And it brings a lot of sweetness and passion to like all the other plants here that can't survive that. And so like it just made me realize, this is where I am, because another thing that I kept saying about moving here, my signs and synchronicities were showing me that when I was leaving my space before was coming out of the cocoon, and I was leaving behind all of the attachments to Egypt, and I was coming here to the promised land to live at a place of milk and honey, and that it would be sweet and it would be abundant. And now I understand, that the agave is like the nectar.
Beautiful.
And,
Yeah.
that's helping me see and understand a
Mm,
language for what I've been feeling.
mm.
So, yeah.
That's so beautiful. And that's you connecting with your surroundings, with the earth, and taking that on board. You're embodying that. And
Yeah.
yeah, and this is where you can go really so much more deeper when you step into that awareness and you're open to that awareness. There is
Mhm.
so much that the world is showing you, the universe is showing you, if you're receptive, and research it as well,
Mhm.
and be open to research it. And if there's something that you look at and you just go, oh, go back to it because it's stopping you for a reason. And this is where we go into that trusting. So, hi, Jeremiah. I'm going to read yours. So, I love Jeremiah's comments. So, the divine gifts and treasures are all inside of us within, waiting on us to take action, while most are waiting on opportunity to knock. And while we are looking for the knock on the door, we have forgotten we are the door of opportunity. And yes, that is so powerful because there are so many people that are going, wow, it's got to come to me. And there is that a lot of attitude where, people are expecting that it should come and seek them out and that life owes them this and that they're entitled to it. But it's actually shifting that into a place of understanding that you are the power, that you can achieve and attain anything, but it's shifting that perspective. And I feel that's a really powerful comment, Jeremiah.
Yeah, and think about
Yeah.
that is we think about this journey and the purpose and trying to align with purpose and
Mm.
forgetting that we are the purpose.
Yeah.
Like, let me find my purpose. Let me find my purpose. Well, you're getting up out of bed every day is your purpose, to show up in a place of fulfillment, to show up in a place
Mhm.
of connecting to the divine and being your best self. So let's see. So New York, Michelle, welcome. I was more rich having nothing. It was that I had to love a lifetime, which was with my twin flame. That I had the love of, oh, you had the love of a lifetime. Okay, but you felt more rich having nothing, and that's for sure. Back to what we talked about. If you're just joining, I
Mm.
was talking about earlier about really digging deep into your soul and recognizing that everything is in nothing, and that where this journey will strip us sometimes of everything so we can break down to the core of nothing to find everything in that place.
Absolutely.
Heidi, thank you for showing up again.
So thank you so much.
Welcome. Let's see, Michelle again. We have Martin. Hello, Martin. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Um, Oh, Crazy Lion, welcome back. Nice to see another episode with you here. And a great choice of topic. Thanks for your feedback. We love that. I find the synchronicity is fascinating. It really is. Heidi again. Let's see. Wow, that is a miracle of the wine multiplying. Yeah. Yeah, it is so true. Like how that did multiply. And who would think that you could find the multiplication in such a blessing in the art of alcohol, right? Asking you shall receive. That's so true, Martin. So true. Okay, so one question, Crazy Lane. You meant to ask for a while. Dr. Harmony just mentioned manifestation. Do you think that it's possible to manifest something you want by silently wishing for it? Okay, so a couple things about that. So I'm doing a program right now called The Art of Manifesting with Regan Hillier, and it's a 30-day program. And I've followed a lot of her stuff for years because technically, like, I don't watch her and get my ideas. I watch her and she confirms my ideas. And so one of the things that, that my mindset is shifting into her talk and belief system of that, you, and I said this a while back, last time or two, we only manifest our level of tolerance, is how she puts it. I say it this way. I say it that you basically, if you have something that you want to create and you have a desire in that, and it's a really like deep hearted soul desire that you feel like you need to align with. But if you're not showing up every day in aligned action, in aligned thoughts, in aligned belief systems, in alignment with what that is, then you're not going to manifest that for sure, because you're out of alignment with whatever it is you're trying to manifest. So basically what that also means, say in the twin flame journey, if you're on this journey and you desire love, and you desire relationship, and you desire a specific way that you want that partnership to be, and then you're showing up in a place of settling for less than what it is you desire, you're never going to have what you desire, because your level of expectation is not in alignment with the desire. In her ways, you're tolerating less than what you desire. And so basically I feel like one of the things about this is, and I just did this, and this is how I came to the conclusion. I was talking about going from can't even own an arm wire 2 weeks ago to looking at property, is because I realized that I had created a container for my being to support and hold more light, more ability to manifest more in every area of my life. But my vision had not caught up to the level of my container yet. It's kind of backwards for me. Sometimes people's vision has to be there to expand the container. In my case, I had built a container to hold and support all these things that I've been planning and thinking and desiring for years, but my vision was not in alignment with that. So what I had to do is take a look at, like, well, what does that version of me look like? What is it doing? And I knew coming to Sedona meant property. I knew that from the minute coming here, sacred soil and anchoring love and light into the earth and owning property because of that reason, not because I need it. There's a difference in that. And that's why if you need something, if it's missing for you and you're seeking it and desiring it in a way that you see it as separate than you, you also can't create or have it, because the energetic distance between you and it is you're pushing it away because you see it as not being there and you see it as separate from you. You have to see yourself integrated in one with whatever it is you desire. So when it comes to manifesting, do you think it's possible to manifest something you want by silently wishing for it? Well, first of all, I think that you have to have the vision for what it is you want. You need to be super clear on what you want, and then your vibration has to match what you want. And the only way it can do that is that your thoughts, feelings, and actions are in alignment with what you want. the thing that you're referring to here is on an unconscious level, sometimes what we want and what we get is blocked by the unconsciousness of unconscious programs that are
Mm.
running, that is sending signals that's causing an interference in our vibration that's blocking us from getting what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Now, silently, I'm not 100% certain what you mean by that, but I would say if you're saying that from a place, can I just be silent? I don't have to tell anybody this. Sometimes I feel I got into this nesting stage this year I hadn't been in, which was the first time I felt like I have all these things I want to do, but I don't want to tell anybody. I've never felt that before. And it was like a little mother hen sitting on this golden egg that said, I'm hatching something really big. So I feel like sometimes, like when you are going through this phase of creating something, it's about sitting on it and don't go out there and let other people's energy taint what you're creating
No.
while it's in the incubation stage.
Can I just add, though,
Yeah.
that on the flip side of that, I would really say true crazy line that when you're saying about silently wishing for it, is it because you're afraid or you're fearful that you're not worthy of others hearing or knowing that this is what you want or want to experience or have in your life? So I would say, both dual sides of it. It's understanding where your power is within this. So what Dr. Harmony's saying is really working from such a high empowered place, and he's recognizing, actually touching on the other side of saying, well, actually, is it something because it's challenging your self-worth? You don't believe you're worthy of actually manifesting or having these experiences or people or whatever it is that you want in your life. And it's really understanding where and being honest with yourself about where you're coming from. And this is where we talk about going into the subconscious, where we talk about actually reprogramming that subconscious, because it's coming from a place of really believing that actually I want to keep it quiet because I don't want people to hear it because I'm not truly worthy. Then it's really challenging that worth within you. So use this as a mirror reflection, that actually use yourself, use your feelings. How do you really feel? And be really honest about yourself.
And that also, I want to say something about what you're saying right now, because that also, on some level, being silent about it, does that mean unconsciously you don't really believe you're going to get it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, which is kind of what I heard you also say there, that if you're being silent, maybe you're just sitting on it because you don't believe it.
Yeah. And so kind of using the two words silently and wishing, that, it's very quiet and it's very insipid. It's being in the empowered place of I know, I can, I will. Yeah. Shifting the power.
All right. So Bonnie, so you researched the 717. And just so you know, I had a bunch of 717 stuff coming up in the year of 2017. And it was also divine masculine returning was what 717 meant in 2017. Anyway, so as the date you was murdered in a past life, and the number of the jersey that your twin wears is 17. His shoe size is 17 and yours is 7, so 717 again. I see this on the clock when I come down to breakfast, and the newspaper, the last place I was on vacation in this site, and will be closed on the 7th to the 17th of November. Yeah, you can't make up these signs like this. Like these are literally synchronicities that are paralleling the process to show and direct you and help you understand there's a true communication going on between you and the universe is coordinating. And I also call this a sense of quantum entanglement, meaning that we're paralleling time, spaces, and realities from past lives, present life, future dimensions. And all of this is happening to unravel the karma and the connections that we've had, that we're repatterning and reprogramming these things that Reis was talking about a while ago on an energetic level, because it creates an imprint within our own soul that could be a piece of what's blocking us from the alignment of this, whatever we're trying to create that we were talking about. So when it comes to, the connection of the numbers and the twin flame, they're usually always a connection, but they always also link to like a rebirthing process
Mm.
that puts you through a series and sequence of events that helps you wake up to something you're to see, feel, and know so that you can heal it and reprogram that. Do you want to add anything to
Yeah,
that?
I was just going to say, Bonnie, because as I say, I receive numbers on a really, powerful way in my life. So I want to ask, when you see the number 7, the 717, what is it? What is it that it brings? Are you given a anything that confirms what it is, what you need to do? Numbers show me energy, so they give me signs and awareness that I am to ground or to connect or to shift my thoughts and my awareness in a different direction. So I just really wanted to add on, what you see this number everywhere. Is there something that you are called to do to create action around this? Or is it just something that is a confirmation that you're seeing it divinely placed on your path that's guiding you at this point? I'd just like to know more.
All right. Well, let's see if
Yeah.
she's still here and can respond to that question and revisit that. So, Cherie, welcome back. My high school friend from many, many moons ago, growing up, not even high school. I said that last time she was on here, right? Childhood friend from hometown. You want to say something wonderfully poignant, but y'all keep beating me to the messages. Love being so connected so many miles away. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And that's also a piece of what you're talking about, is part of the quantum entanglement I talked about. We're all getting downloads. We're all getting messages. We're all getting the same signs and synchronicities a lot of time. And out of nowhere, then we all are getting this information and from the same source, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's also how we also create the connection in this quantum entanglement, is like a universal consciousness, like the divine mind. Like we all make up the divine mind. And that comes through a consciousness of a frequency and a vibration of our thoughts, creating like a vibration. And I'm very scientific, even though I'm very spiritual, and I merge the two. And so I talk about that in terms of the 100th monkey experiment, where scientists took monkeys and put on an island and taught them to wash sweet potatoes a very specific way. And on another island, they put monkeys on the island, but they didn't teach them how to wash sweet potatoes. And so they would keep adding over time another monkey to the group until, hence the 100th monkey. When they finally put the 100th monkey into the mix and was watching or teaching them to wash sweet potatoes, the monkeys on the other island started washing sweet potatoes and they weren't taught.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is the consciousness we create in the divine mind.
Mm.
So we create a real consciousness that creates a program that we're all connecting to. But on the flip side of that is a similar concept to the Mayans and the Egyptians, knowing time, space, and reality, and coming up with the same information miles apart with no communication. Right? So when it comes to these signs, synchronicities, and the universe speaking to us, so many of us light workers are getting the same language, the same information, and we're speaking the same stuff. And I work with people all the time that start waking up to a language that are like, I suddenly know this language. I suddenly know this information, and no one ever told me or taught me about it. So yeah. You understand that nesting mission? Yes. Yes. Okay. Jeremiah, if you want something, don't hide your desire for it. Like the old song says, express yourself, because you're going to draw it out, call it forth, those things that be not as though they were probably done. I think that might be that's the end of that message. But so yeah, I would say there's a piece of that too. And there's two parts to it. Like we just said, there's a piece of it. I think there's a time to express it and a time to nurture it. And that represents a combination of our own energies and two sides of our coin, and knowing when to express it and when to nurture it. I think it kind of goes a little bit both, but it's not your action that matters. It's your energy behind the action that counts. So are you not expressing because of you're afraid and you're fearful to share, what's going on with you with people because you're afraid what they're gonna think of you? That's where we want to express ourselves in full authenticity, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So you skipped over one of his previous messages about his self-worth, but he's just touched on that. But yeah, that's great that you've connected with that crazy lion. Yeah, so just tailed on. But yeah. So yeah, that's how to shift you into a different awareness of how now you can empower that. That's great.
Yeah. Expand on the quantum entanglement. As for 717, you feel like a sign to pay attention to. Yes. And I would look up what the 717. I have a book called Angel Numbers. And it goes up to 999. And typically, I don't have it in front of me or I would, share that with you. But I would look that up. So
what that Doreen Virtue book? Is that Doreen Virtue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But okay, quantum entanglement, I did kind of expand on. It's a connection to the group and collective consciousness that's on an energetic level of how we are all one energetically, creating the divine body of energy, how our consciousness creates one mind, one universal mind, how we're all connected. So I kind of did expand on that with the 100th monkey concept of how we are all one, basically. And the key in that is we're returning to oneness of universal consciousness, universal love, and universal oneness as a whole. And the twin flame journey is like the facilitator of that, because that's a journey from the inside out. And that represents divine love. It represents the unity within. And then that translates to the connections of all your relationships, and all your relationships become reflections of who you are. And that journey literally goes on within you, not necessarily outside of you, or not necessarily with just one person, even though that we can have one person that we soul contracted to that becomes our highest match in this life. But we're ushering in a whole new era. We're learning more about this whole twin flame journey than what history has shown us, because collectively we're all going through a conscious shift, whether it has anything to do with twin flames or not. And the whole world is our mirror. So, okay, on the subject of numbers, you see 555 quite a lot and feel in tune with it too. So 555 is a really easy one. So let me go back to all right, let me do 555. And then something just dropped in on the 77, okay, for me to share with you. So 555 represents the manifesting abilities, magic. It represents alchemy. It represents creation. And it represents you being able to be the co-creator of your life, basically. And yes, so that 555 represents creation and manifesting. But the 717, the sevens represent completion and balance and coming, and 2 sevens. So a 7, 1, and a 7 would be like your feminine side coming to completion and your masculine side coming to completion, with the 1 in the middle represents the balance and the unity between the two. And what the twin flame also will do to you and for you is help you find the inner balance of your own inner masculine and feminine energies. And that's what's so important on this twin flame journey, is to know that reflection with that person is a reflection of your own inner masculine, your own inner feminine energies.
Can I just add something to that? So true crazy line, when you see that number, next time you see it, just pause and ask to receive. So slow down your thoughts. What are you thinking? What are you experiencing? And what are you going? And what is that number resonating with you about? And this will really help you practice going within and listening. And this, to me, has helped me develop my relationship with the universe through numbers, because 555 is a real powerful ascension growth. So usually it comes when you're experiencing a accelerated growth pattern in your life. So it's really, really powerful, because you're going to get a shift, but it's paying attention to the meaning, because Those numbers will highlight experiences, they will highlight situations or thoughts that you need to tune in and you need to slow down, and it will be amplified and it will keep coming, and you'll see the theme, it will keep coming back every single time around certain things. So really use that number to communicate with you and understand the importance, and then you know what to pinpoint, you know what to work on, you know what to amplify, and because it's triple number as well, it's really amplified with that. So it's just something to do when you see it next and it comes through. Just pause and just really, really go within. Yeah, so powerful when you do that.
Yes, that's very good. Good point. Bonnie, yes, you just kind of confirming that cosmic quantum entanglement idea. So you want to take this one, Reis?
Yeah, I was on vacation in the Dominican Republic and I have had several past lives there. One particular was painful cycle is closing down. I also learned my soul originated in the parallels. Do I create parallel timelines? This timeline, my twin and I are not compatible, yet in the DR, we are married and raising a child together right now.
I have something to say about that. So one of the things that, like, I went through with, I was married for a short period of time to the person that reflected all of me and helped me to bring all my aspects into wholeness and oneness, making him the highest reflection of me at that time and showing me the difference in somebody reflecting all of you and not a part of you, and how a twin flame will reflect all of you, not a part of you. And since then, I can see where that person helped me bring all the aspects together. And then you can also create and attract more of a whole and healed version of you from that place. But that being said, that particular person, when people come into our lives, they do come in as part of the healing process to bring closure to timelines, karma, and that's part of the quantum entanglement, where you revisit past timelines, past energies to clear out what's like the blocks or the karma, the interference, basically, to correct the imbalance of your own energy, to collect the fragments of your soul that you lost in those timelines, and then to collect a higher, or to connect to a higher frequency, so that you're now coming in at this higher space and reality of who you are. Now, with that being said, that particular person and I went through so many past lives together, and we both woke up to them. We both knew parts of them. We both shared them, and they all came into sync. There were some very specific pieces about our connection that also put us into not aligning in this particular life when it came full circle, because of what our needs were. Like, his need was one thing and my need was another, and that didn't no longer align once we became into more of collecting our fragments and our parts. So then one of the things that I awakened to was a past life that was our last life, that is the life that we both had paralleled lives, this life to that life, our whole lives. And so when we came back together and I had this epiphany and this awakening to what that life was and how that life synced to not just my connection with him and our current circumstances, but then I connected it back to the pattern that I had went through my entire life with everyone. And I realized, I feel in my soul, that we both had been paralleling our entire life in that life, this life, together. But what I want to tell you is we needed to come together in this life to clear that out, to be free of that life, to leave that dimension behind and to go to new dimension. And it took us doing that to free ourselves to be free of that parallel life. That's some deep stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. Did that make sense to you, Reis?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And just know, when you go through that stuff, you know what I'm talking about if you've been through it. And you also know you can't make up what those signs and synchronicities are that's showing you those parallels and timelines. And it is real. Like, that stuff is real. You love how your books speak of these mastered numbers. Yeah, and you're right. Heidi, thank you for that
Show
reminder.
book, twin flame
Yes,
code breaker.
the
There you
code
go.
breaker.
Battered.
My book definitely that talks a lot about the signs and synchronicities. And look
Yeah.
how Reis, she calls it her twin flame Bible. A lot of people just
It literally is. For anybody who hasn't got one, go out and get one. You won't put it down. It's amazing.
Yes. All right. So makes sense. Your astrologist said that you're here to tie up loose ends. So quantum entanglement makes more sense. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is another version of the quantum entanglement that we're entangled within multiple lives. And that's where typically you might come into a life and clear a past life in a lifetime or something. We came here to compress the trash compactor and purify our souls and literally purge it all. And we're all collectively doing that. And we all signed up as a collective to make this quantum shift in reality for the collective and humanity going forward.
But it's so much more high. So it's so intense here because it's really coming up now to clear completely, which is why it's so hard in this lifetime. I feel that people are really struggling because it's coming to the end of that. They're having to do a mass clearing, not only for themselves, but their timeline. And yeah, it's so it's a lot.
Their family,
the generations, there's a lot.
the
So
collective.
so much more. And because the energy is so intense at the moment, it's just so so intense. So I really feel you, Bonnie, because I've been through a lot of that in my lifetime, a lot. But it's recognizing that we're here to go and we're here to shift, and we can do this as we work together as a collective.
Yeah. And so here, Crazy Lion's talking about how intense it is too, of personal growth at the moment in lots of ways, and not all of it is pleasant, but you understand the growth experience. Okay, so, and here's the thing, you're so right about it, but here's how you can make it easier. You surrender it all and you find everything and nothing. And that's what we were talking about when we started the show, that when you cannot hang on and you don't hold on and you don't resist the change and you don't resist the growth and you don't resist the letting go and you fully surrender, that is how you will get through it faster, because otherwise the signs and synchronicities and repeating cycles happen until you get it.
They keep looping.
When you get it, it stops or it slows down or it changes in a whole different way. And I won't say it ever stops, because, then we wouldn't be, our mission would be over, right? But it does change forms. Great observation, Reis. Yes. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We definitely went over, but thanks for hanging in there with us and spending your Sunday evening with us here on the Rise with Reis show, where we help you elevate your true self and connect to your higher self, the higher version of you, so you can attract your highest match, your twin flame, but even more importantly, that you're able to embody that higher version of yourself and create a life from that place of your highest version of you, which will bring you your highest match, which is what our goal is for you, so you can experience divine love in this lifetime, meaning you don't have to wait. Okay. So again, if you've not got plugged into our free 5-day challenge, check out the link above and below. And you can find more resources on how to even book a session with Reis in the description box above or below. And we look forward to seeing you again on the next Rise with Reis show, coming up every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's New York time. And so we will see you then. And you're very welcome. Cherie, love it. Love you. And we'll see you next week. Okay. Bye for now, everyone. Take care and loads of love.